Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at Rated M for Mature, our special E3 podcast.
Ow.
With me, as always, are my hosts, Totes.
What's up? I'm Totes.
Hey guys, I'm Archer.
And Archer, yes. So today we're obviously talking about the Bethesda conference. We just finished it. We just wrapped it up literally.
We just cleaned up the jizz.
Yeah. Don't take a black light to my room because it's pretty messy.
Many Kleenex were used.
Yes. It was a fucking great show. I mean, we saw Doom first. Yeah. And at first I was thinking, well, who gives a shit? Like, they're starting off with their crap and I guess they're going to get it out of the way. And I was actually really pleasantly surprised by how nice the game looks, for one. Like, graphically, it looks pretty intense. The action was pretty cool. Like, it kind of looks like a weird child of Mortal Kombat meets, I don't know, Gears of War with all the chainsaw we saw there, right? So
I think that it looks like it has the feeling of an old school... kind of like, like obviously the old school Doom, but then more like in terms of the more 3D era, like the older Unreal games or like older Quake or something like that. And it looked really smooth. Like the combat looked really, really fast. And I mean, you don't see a lot of games anymore, shooters particularly, that are like based around that high speed circle strafing. Carrying 8 weapons at once.
Well, Call of Duty kind of changed it to the whole regenerating health thing, and now it looks like Doom's kind of kicking that in the teeth, going, no. This game's about getting involved and mixing it up and getting in there.
I mean, the guy who was playing didn't take cover once.
No.
It was all about running around really fast and blowing through guys and like high adrenaline action, and I think that'll be really cool. I think I'll try it for sure. I mean, I don't really like shooters that much, but I mean, a game like that is pretty fun. Like, I don't know about the multiplayer. We'll have to wait and see. But a single-player game like that can be pretty fun to go through.
What were your thoughts on Totes on Doom?
I'm probably going to end up being the odd man out here. I do not give a flying fuck about that game. It just doesn't look like anything... or. That's the problem. It looks like everything I've seen. Every part of it, I could tell, like, you know what? This is an aspect that's in this game. This is an aspect that's in another game. It didn't really feel like anything was new to me. It felt almost
fair enough.
Boring for a shooter.
Fair enough. I don't know about boring because, I mean, I think the pace of the game... I mean, you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. I mean, I think that if the game's paced and the quality of its... action is good, that you're going to be engaged anyways, because you're always going to be on your toes trying to kill monsters, get your health, get your whatever.
Yeah, but, I mean, to be fair, the original Doom was one of the main games instrumental in creating the wheel to begin with, right? So, I mean, they kind of, I feel like they get a bit of a free pass when it comes to, you reusing gameplay elements, because most shooters have derived their own.
For the most part, Totes is right. I think it is a lot of stuff we have seen so far. It very much reminded me of a faster Doom 3, because Doom 3 had that creepy, scary corridor, and it was dark and gloomy, but it's just quicker and it's more fast paced. But I think where this game has the potential to really, really shine is its I already forget the name of the goddamn editor that they have, but they have their own map editor. Yeah, where you can make your own...
Doom Swap or something like that?
Yeah, something like that, where you can make your own match. So you can make like a horde-based wave game, where you can make a smaller multiplayer map, where you can make... Like, it's just unlimited possibilities. You literally have the editing tools at your fingertips. And I think that's great. I mean, games like Little Big Planet, we've seen, it has such longevity because of these tools, and I think this is something that can really help Doom possibly become even better than it is. Yeah. Maybe even a different game. Like, you can play entirely different types of games on the Little Big Planet franchise.
I think it was, just in case, it was either called Doom Builder or Doom World.
Yeah, something like that for sure. So I think that's where this game could potentially really stand out.
Yeah, a cool thing too will be to see, with that level builder, they will have certain restrictions on it, but it'll be cool to see what happens when the tools that the developers give you are combined with the modding community on PC.
Yeah.
Because they'll be able to just add tools to that. They'll be able to create. I don't know. It was kind of vague on whether you can create full levels from the ground up. I know that you could design where the rooms were and stuff, but I don't know how many like different textures and kind of stuff like that they're gonna have, right? You know, like Halo 3 onward, like Forge was really cool, but I mean it was kind of limited by the assets they had in the game. But I think modders will be able to overcome that.
I think because we all have PCs as well too, we kind of see both sides. But I think this is a big win for our console brethren. They're not used to the modding community such as it is. So I think this is a big like first taste for them. I know they got it, like the Halo guys got it with the Forge, and you're right. And it was a big deal for the Halo community too, right? Like that just shows you, you know, how fresh this is for the console guys. I think this is really great for them. And they did announce too that Doom will be available on the consoles, Xbox One only, PS4 only, and PC, which is kind of nice too. So, you know, fantastic. And then what do we see next? What was after Doom? Was it Dishonored? I think it was something other than Dishonored.
It was a little game
Tamriel.
called The Elder Scrolls.
No.
Oh no, it was their hack and slash fighting game.
Yeah, it was their like third person battle arena game.
I think it was called Battle something.
Well, that's already been
Battle Forged, I think it was called.
Yeah,
Battle Forged.
Honestly, it was not memorable for me at all. Like,
yeah, it looks like a shitty Team Fortress.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm just gonna kind of zone out until they get to.
Yeah, let's just rip off Quentin
baby
Tarantino's style of action with this trailer and hopefully make it look cooler than it is. I mean, it didn't look like, and I hate to sound like such a graphics whore because I'm probably going to throughout this podcast, but this game did not look next gen to me. It didn't look fun even. It just looked like it was trying to be more stylish than I have a feeling it's going to be.
Yeah, more so than anything, it looked choppy.
Yeah,
like the gameplay looked. It looked like it was running at like 30 FPS or something.
Now
that
that could be just the trailer we saw there because it's a very rough trailer, much like Fallout. And
we're gonna alpha, they said
we are gonna get back to the Fallout thing there. But yeah, I mean it could be.
We'll save that.
Yeah, we'll save that for the end. But it could be just the trailer that we saw, right? I mean,
Here's
who knows?
The thing. For me, it's the same issue I had with Doom. Granted, Doom it did establish the FPS genre, but it looks. It felt like, I don't want to call it a B-list shooter.
Oh, you can call it B-list. I would say C almost, really.
Yeah, but something like an Aliens Colonial Marines or something that you'd find new release for like $50.
You know what it actually reminded me of, which is funny because it's coming from Bethesda as well, was Brink.
Yeah,
you know, like it was like
I just think
the
with
random ass multiplayer game.
I just think with with Blizzard's new shooter that's coming out. That's kind of doing the MOBA thing / shooter thing, and then with 2K Games doing Battleborn, I believe it's called. This game just seems like a weaker version of those games that are coming out that look really good, like big hitters.
The game you were talking about was actually Battlecry.
Battlecry, yes.
It's got to have battle in it, right?
Yeah, everything. You know, I don't know. I was very underwhelmed by that game, and they made it sound like their beta was a big deal, and that you can now sign up for it now. And I honestly think that they should have just been almost pleading with the audience, please sign up for this, because from what we saw, it didn't look like, even the levels look kind of bland.
I suspect that it'll be probably like a free-to-play online game with microtransactions. I don't know. Like I have not done any research into the game, but it wouldn't surprise me if it turns out to be something they throw on the PSN store, like
it's like
Warframe or something.
It's
you know
like
what I mean?
Like it will make it to console. I don't think they announced that it's coming to console.
They did.
Really?
No,
I think
but it could be like
just like Team Fortress 2. I think it's going to be exclusive PC, and it's going to be that free-to-play game.
Or it's $19.99 kind of thing. It's a very low price point entry into there, and maybe you pay for cosmetics like Team Fortress. You just look different, but you still play the same kind of thing. I don't know. And, there's probably a space for that somewhere on the internet, but for me, I mean, taking the show as a whole, definitely that was the low point of the show.
Yeah.
But
well, and you can tell by the fact that they only gave it like 2 minutes.
It wasn't long, and we were just sitting there going, okay.
Well, it's very hard to announce a game that's already out in 2 continents.
Yeah. As well as, I mean, to be fair, they're putting a game like that alongside Doom, Dishonored 2, Fallout,
and whatever else the goodies that they have.
Yeah, so sure. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, it's obviously going to pale in comparison. Not even if they show that on their own, though. I don't think I would be that interested.
Well, speaking of Dishonored, that was the next thing that
Yeah,
we saw
man.
too, and
Hype.
and it's funny. I made a joke before, and I had no idea. We didn't see anything in Facebook or any kind of social media, and I'd made a joke because it just said Dishonored, and they were talking about it. I didn't say anything about Dishonored 2, and they're talking about the first game, and then I cracked the joke going, "The HD re-release is now available," instead of the Dishonored. Trailer, and then sure enough, at the end of it all, they fucking released the HD re-release, and I'm just laughing and shaking my head at the same goddamn
Let's be
time.
honest, at this point, are you really even the slightest bit surprised?
No, I'm not,
Hey,
but it's fucking silly.
But if you've noticed, like, it seems like what they're doing is they are remastering a lot of the last gen games so that new console holder, like people that are just freshly getting into the next or the current gen or whatever the fuck you want to call it,
Sure, yeah.
will have like a foothold, right? So like, well, like we saw with Tomb Raider, for instance, right? Like they did the definitive edition. I don't imagine it really helped them out that much with sales. I think it was.
Let's be 100% honest. What's the easiest way to generate money for a game that's coming out? You want to generate money for assets? You re-release the one that's already out.
Well, yeah, exactly. My point is that you can get a lot of people that are new to that hyped for the game by having the previous version out. Right? Like, I mean...
I guess. Or if the PS4, Xbox One happened to be, by some fucking miracle, your first system purchase, then you wouldn't have access to that game normally. Okay, I get that.
I think we're going to start seeing this a lot more as this generation's version of a demo.
Yeah.
You want to get into the series? Here's the first game.
I think it should be priced accordingly then, not a full retail.
I mean, look at this, though. Like, and not all of them are, right? Like, they have Tomb Raider. Yeah. They did... Halo Master Chief, because Halo 5 is coming out soon. They're doing the Drake's trilogy because Uncharted 4 is coming out soon.
Let's settle this here, Archer. How much are you looking to pay for the Dishonored remaster? How much would you be willing to pay?
Because I love Dishonored and it's one of my favorite games ever, I would be willing to pay like $49.99, but I think realistic pricing would be $39.99.
And I was going to say that. I was going to jump in. I love that game as much as Archer did. It was one, like, we both were nonstop talking about this game. I mean, I 100%ed it as well too, and I was literally thinking as he was speaking, I would not pay more than $39.99 for this. I just wouldn't. DLC, I know there's DLC included and whatnot, but I've already paid for it, and in some cases twice. I had it on the PS3 and I own it on Steam. I don't want. There's a good possibility I will pick it up again. But I mean, really, I don't want to pay more than $40. I think it's just ridiculously greedy to do, especially for just an HD polishing. Like, I'm running it on Ultra on my PC, and that's probably what you're going to see on your PS4, right? And that took nothing. That was already established in the game itself. So they literally just have to crank up their settings, put it on the disc, and sell it. So really, anything more than $39.99, I think, is just a shameless cash grab. And they don't really need the money. I mean, they're doing okay for themselves.
I mean, again,
Bethesda's got a few decent sizes.
Again, I think the main reason is that they're going to be releasing it to help generate some momentum for Dishonored 2, which... Going forward with that,
did we get an official release date on Dishonored 2?
No,
we did not. They did not mention a date, which I'm okay with because I don't want to be teased with, today, tomorrow. Oh, sorry, it's next week.
Well, they didn't even show
When do you think it's
gameplay.
coming out?
I'm gonna say next year. We're probably in for
What
next
time
year.
next year?
I'm gonna say probably holiday next year. Seems to be,
What about you, Archer?
I think it's a big enough title.
Maybe a little sooner, probably like
Like October or so?
late spring, summer.
Honestly, I'd be willing to go out on a limb and say we're going to see it about June, July.
That would be awesome because nothing's usually released in June.
Yeah.
For me, when I say holiday, I mean October, November, December. I mean probably, realistically, October, November. Only because they've made a lot of big announcements and a huge announcement, which we will get to later, obviously.
Yeah.
With release date wise, I don't think we're going to see Dishonored until next holiday, to be honest with you. But getting back into Dishonored 2 itself, man, it looked so good. Like, oh my god, did it look good?
I mean,
it still retains that watercolor paint, but not so much. It seems more like it's
I mean, the CGI trailer they showed was very, very, very similar to the one for Dishonored 1.
It was serviceable.
It was the same thing where it was like, it was from the first person point of view for the most of it, right?
Yep.
And it had like, a showcase of the different powers and kind of the momentum of the game, how it's fast paced, and like, at the end of the first one too, it cut to the character.
Yeah, but one of the first shots in this one is you get to see somebody running in high heels.
Yeah, which is awesome. Like, they announced that you're going to be able to play as both Corvo, so the protagonist from the first one,
And spoiler alert,
and then Emily, so who was the
daughter
young,
of the Empress.
yeah, the young heir to the throne, who you spent the first game trying to rescue.
which is kind of cool. So here's the kind of thing that ran through my mind when I watched this, because we've all played this game, we've all beat this game. Is Corvo kind of a mentor to her, or did the stranger, I believe that's his name, the god that grants you your powers over? I think his name's
Outsider.
the Outsider, maybe, yeah, stranger, outsider, something like that. Now, does he make some sort of separate deal, or does Corvo kind of train her and make her like a student? Like, we don't know these things. No matter what end you do in Dishonored, it does its own kind of wraps it all up, and you are left like you're not left with any questions, right? The good ending, the bad ending, or the neutral ending, it kind of just ends, and you're okay with that. So I kind of think, because they seem like, and to me, and this is just looking at the girl's gameplay, is that she's going to play very different. Like, she's grabbing something like almost like an energy grappling hook, like, whereas Corvo teleports, he blinks.
Yeah,
I
hope Corvo retains a lot of the same powers that he had in the first one. Like, of course, you can add some stuff, but I think since you can play as both of them, they announced that you can play through the campaign as both of them. I think it would be really cool if Corvo retain that similar feeling where Emily maybe is more of like
aggressive.
Yeah, and maybe she's more fast paced, but maybe she's also like squishier. You know what I mean? Like maybe she dies easier, but she's a lot faster than Corvo. So like you can do a different form of combat or stealth gameplay with her.
Honestly, I think it's just going to be the same thing, just with tweaked powers.
And that wouldn't be so bad either.
Yeah,
as long as
equality, right?
Giving us the choice too, like that's awesome. And
as long as the story is really good, I really don't care if the powers are similar.
This is the one thing I was thinking about. So having Corvo and Emily both as playable characters, I wonder if they will have co-op in the game.
They didn't say. They did not say.
Well, it would be hard to say too, because you never see them in the trailer interacting with each other.
Mm-hmm. You don't see Corvo at all, though.
That's the big giveaway.
Yeah.
But the one thing that kind of gives me hope, though, is it seems like their playgrounds or the levels or the world that you're in, we see, first of all, more than one locale. We see like a tropical place, we see like an urban sprawled area city, and then we see this big mansion thing with the main bad guys. So it looks like when they're in the tropical island kind of city, that it's that level looks massive, because she's grappling, she's got a telescope that she's looking, so that could open up to like almost like a Dying Light style of multiplayer. Why not?
Yeah, and I mean
that'd be cool. Drop in, drop out, and do whatever you gotta do.
Just to fill in our listeners here, they have, like, as far as we know from the trailer, they've moved the location from the steampunk city of Dunwall to a new place that's Magnetic said, looks a lot more tropical. I think it's another coastal city, and I think that'll be cool too, because I wonder if there's going to be more locations in the forest or the jungle around there,
because it kind of hints that there's more than one locale, right? I mean,
or if you're going to be traveling between cities. Yeah. Or, maybe you'll be traveling between cities, going back to Dunwall. Yeah. I really hope, and I have complete faith in them, that they'll be able to flesh this new place out as much as Dunwall.
I kind of want to go back to Dunwall, maybe not for a long period of time, but just so, hey.
But I mean, the cool thing about Dunwall in the first one was that, like, it really gave you the sense that this was a fucking huge city, man. Yeah. Like, you went to all these different places in it, and it looked like, when you would just gaze out, across the harbor or something like that, it looked like there was so much more to it. Mm-hmm. And they really fleshed out the lore, and they really...
Which is why I hope they go back to it.
Yeah.
They spent all this time and energy with the first game to set up this glorious city. And even if we're only spending, say, the game is maybe, I don't know, let's say 14 hours. If we're spending like 2 hours back in Dunwall, I'm good there, and let's just get onto new and better things. But I kind of want to go back, maybe see how it's changed, because... I mean, she goes from being a girl of, looks like maybe 10 years old in the first game to a girl in her early 20s. So a lot may have happened in a decade, right? Like, it might be cool to see what's going on in Dunwall. And maybe we will. Who knows?
And I mean, if I recall, in the good ending of Dishonored, spoiler alert.
Yeah, if you haven't beat this game, in the last 3.5 years.
Yeah. Buy the remastered then.
Yeah.
No, but if I recall, in the good ending... when Emily comes to power and Corvo's mentoring her, they deal with the rat plague,
Yep.
and they get it out of Dunwall. So it'd be interesting.
And
to
they
go
have a
back
more loving father and daughter relationship. Too.
Yeah, well, the game kind of implies that he's her
the
dad.
father. Yes,
Right.
Yeah.
So,
be
but
cool if they actually dealt with that in the sequel too.
Which actually brings me to my next point. I really, really hope that Corvo is not a silent protagonist this time around. I think that they could have done a lot more with his character, and it was just weird, man. Like, I don't know. I think
they could still get away with it. To be honest, there are characters.
Maybe.
That
Do you recall the girl saying anything though, Totes, in the trailer that we saw?
No.
For Dishonored, I don't recall her speaking though.
But I mean, I think the time of silent protagonists is done, and if you really want to get a player invested in the character, you have to flesh them out a bit. And like Corvo was kind of cool because he had like a lot of subtlety to him.
Didn't Corvo speak a little bit in the first one?
Never talked, not once.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be really cool to be able to have like more interactions with characters and cutscenes and stuff like that. Because I always found it kind of awkward that like
a lot of stuff is implied.
Well, the thing is that in Dishonored, like it's such a immersive, atmospheric game, but then that's kind of broken whenever you talk to a character and it's just a one-way conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was kind of weird, and I really hope that, especially if they're going to make the relationship between Corvo and Emily a lot more central to the plot this time around.
I guess it doesn't have to be a lot, like even like Bioshock, because Booker doesn't talk a lot either, but just enough to make you feel like he's a person dealing with...
And
maybe they do. We don't know. Like, we don't see a lot. We just hear the main villain speak, right? And so... I don't know. It just looks cool. And once again, in the conference, big plus for me is the guy who is narrating, I guess, for the game. You can play the game once again. You don't have to fire a single shot. You don't have to do anything. You could literally play non-violently and stealth your way through the entire campaign and beat the game. And for me, that was such a huge plus because I enjoyed the game. I think Dishonored 1 took me on my non-violent playthrough 16 hours.
Yeah.
And then when I did it on the violent playthrough, killing and murdering, it was 2 hours that I beat the game. So it's really cool, and it does add that extra depth of difficulty. And
it adds so much replayability to the game too, right? Having to play... Like, I'm hoping with that they're going to be having multiple endings again. That'd be cool. It'd be really cool if... Corvo and Emily's stories are different too. Like I'm hoping that it's not just like choose your character and then you just like go through the same progression of levels. You know what I mean?
I'd be willing to bet that you don't just play as one character though. I'd be willing to bet if you're going through the story, you're going to be switching.
Do you think that you're going to be switching though, or because I think one of the designers on stage implied that you would choose at the beginning who you wanted to play, and that like I'm hoping that. If they choose to go that route, it's not going to be the same campaign. It's that there'll be, either two separate campaigns with different levels entirely, or...
Well, he said that you can play as either character. He did not confirm that, okay, you know what, this mission I want to send somebody on, I'll get Corvo. This mission I want to send somebody on, I'll send, I can't remember her name.
Yeah. I know you mean.
But again, it would lead through the same storyline. It would just be, okay, one person's doing the side mission while I'm doing the actual.
I just think it'd be cool if they had different campaigns, you know what I mean? Like, say, Resident Evil 2, right? You know how,
the major event is still going on? It's just cool. Yeah, and I get what you're saying because... I do not. The one of my small gripes about The Witcher is I don't like that it takes me out of my awesomeness that is being Geralt and exploring, and I gotta fucking play the Ciri portions. Like I don't want to be doing that in Dishonored. I'd like it to be the girl. I get to play her campaign, and then it's different.
It'll grow on you.
Yeah, and then okay, and then and then you play Corvo, and then you play his, but it's still. You don't feel like you're playing two separate campaigns. You feel like one flushes out the other, possibly, no matter which way you choose.
But I
think it's all about how you implement it. I mean, admittedly, with The Witcher, the beginning scenes with Ciri is a little bit jarring.
It's fucking boring too. And
at the beginning, it is. Yeah. Later in the game, just hold on. It gets
fair enough. Yeah, I'm only about 40% in, but I'm saying, I don't want to be taken out of that cool assassin experience, and I play. Corvo for a while, and then I got to start over as the girl now because I'm starting her portion.
Yeah,
and
but I think it'd be really cool if their campaigns branched off and intersected at certain points, right? Yeah, they came together at certain points, and I mean,
It's kind of harder to do that with a stealth game where it's not really focused on like combining forces.
Yeah, I mean, it is weird, right, when it's completely stealth-based because, like, the pace is so much slower, too.
Yeah.
But,
and who knows, what if, because the Outsider's a fucking strange fellow, man, what if you're playing against Corvo?
Yeah,
what if you're working at opposite ends of,
that's the thing, too, right? Like, what if you have to choose, like, you play one campaign and you have to fight the other person at some point.
Yeah,
or
like Corvo maybe wants to deal with it non-violently. Maybe what's really fucking cool is it takes your last save and how you beat the game and you choose maybe the good ending, but maybe your daughter or the Empress's daughter wants to go fucking rogue and get revenge or do whatever, but Corvo wants to do it peacefully, so now you're working against each other, or vice versa.
Yeah,
or,
that'd be pretty cool if, and actually, I guess something we didn't touch on before is the possibility of them doing that with the remastered coming out, right?
Yeah, that would be cool. And again, that would be, again, I don't think 39. I think 39 is the solid point. But if that was a feature there, I would definitely be dropping $40 just for that, for sure.
And playing through it again, yeah.
Yeah, just so I can get that extra experience in my next gen sequel, for sure. Now, I thought too, I didn't see any new weaponry. You saw the same old crossbow. I saw the same old sword.
You literally saw Corvo's sword.
Yeah, the only thing I saw new was a telescope. And I don't I don't know. Is that a good or bad thing? Should they? I don't know. Should we have more weapons?
It didn't really bother me. I mean, it's the very, very first reveal, and they did show off Emily's different powers. You know, she had the grappling, she had the mover, she turned into smoke. Like, I think they showed enough new things that they'll be able to keep the hype going, right?
Yeah, and I wonder too with Emily, I believe none of her powers were combative. If you notice, like a lot of it was slowing time to get away. Like she only had barely enough time to dodge or to move. I wonder if Corvo will be more the combat specialist and Emily maybe the movement stealth. I don't know. It's interesting. But the weaponry I thought was really cool from the first game too. Everything had this own original, like I know it's a crossbow, but it's different. It's this steampunk kind of created. It's a crossbow, but it's a different kind of crossbow, so it seems fresh.
And building upon that, I think it would be really cool if there were certain items and weapons that were exclusive to each character. Mm-hmm. Like I thought it was really cool how in Dishonored 1, Corvo, had the crossbow, but then when you played the DLC as Dowd, you had his wrist was his crossbow, right?
His Assassin's Creed bow or whatever.
Yeah, and that was cool because they had like some different kill animations with it. It had different properties and stuff.
Dowd's blade is meatier too, eh? It's bigger. Yeah. It's not this thin rapier style blade. Yeah.
So I think there's like a lot of potential with having two characters like that, and in a game already as what the universe is fleshed out as it was, just from one game, right? There's a shitload of stuff that they can do with it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because we don't know a lot. We saw a lot, but we don't know a lot. Like we hear the Outsider talking about some sort of conflict, but when you beat the game in the first game, it's dealt with one way or the other, negatively or positively. It's dealt with, and I know this looks like it's a different country with a different set of problems, but how does it connect?
Here's the thing about that sort of thing. Like I'm going to be doing like this huge heel turn here for this episode, but again, it's not something that I cared about.
Wow, no, I was pumped.
Dishonored has never been a great game. I'm not huge on stealth. I think it's just too time consuming to progress through something that you can just blast through, even if it's
part of the fun.
Yeah,
though,
but I mean,
challenge.
I know, but I've just never found it entertaining to sit back and watch a computer's pathing and wait 10 minutes to turn a corner.
Fair enough.
Well, I mean, the thing though, like Dishonored really tingled my old school thief nerves there, because what it did is it puts you in a space with all these different tools, and it's basically a puzzle game. It's just like you need to be creative and you need to figure out how to get by.
See, I thought the game was more of I challenge you to commit the perfect crime. That scene in the second or third level where you can choose to poison that guy's drink. You can follow him back down to his lair and assassinate him there. You can do so many. You can kill him before he even gets to the building if you're brave enough. If you want to tackle the guard, it just challenges you to be creative in how you deal with these scenarios. And I kind of like that. That's the part I liked about it. Not so much, the stealth thing's cool, and sometimes, and I'll admit, Totes, I sometimes get bored watching the pathing, but it's just one of those things where I want to make sure I'm getting it right. I don't enjoy it all the time because sometimes I just want to progress the story as well. But for me, that's part of the fun and part of the challenge too. Is the game just keeps daring you to do it. Okay, cool. Like when you do beat it the first time, like I did, I wonder if I could do this like a real professional hitman or assassin might and leave no trace.
Yeah.
And that's where I kind of got the excitement.
For me, it's just a little bit too systematic. It's a little bit too much work to try and focus on pathing and issues of just like, hey, I could go out this window. It'll take 0.6 seconds. And
well, you don't have to play that way, though, eh?
I know, but with a game like Dishonored, like you said, it would take like 2 hours to play it the way I would.
Maybe the second game is different, though, because it does look significantly larger.
I know, but the reason that I'm comparing it to that is it's just not fun to play a 2-hour game at its bare minimum, and it's probably a lot easier if you just like shoot your way through it. Again,
not if you play it on the harder difficulties, though, because on the harder difficulties, fighting guys is a death sentence. Like, people two-shot you on the hardest difficulty, and that's why you need to stealth them.
That's one of the reasons why that game will never appeal to an audience like me, because even on the harder difficulties, it'll still recommend you go stealth.
And to be fair, the 2.5 hours I beat it with, that was my 5th playthrough in a row. I was already at I was 98% complete the game, like the trophies.
Yeah,
for
you
it.
were just.
And I knew the levels inside and out.
It's just not a game geared towards somebody who likes more action.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Stealth games are niche.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, that's why they're not the big blockbuster titles that sell.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I've always played games like that. Not necessarily for the stealth mechanics, but because they seem to be the most immersive. When you're sitting in this world and you really have to take note of all your surroundings and move through it really slowly, you can really appreciate all the little details they put into the atmosphere. And
but can you not do that just from like an open world game?
Yeah, you can, sure. Yeah. But I mean, a lot of open world games incorporate stealth elements too, right? I mean, it depends. Like, I realize that really good open world games like The Witcher and stuff don't, but I'm not saying that they don't.
You
kind of
can in The Witcher, though. You're not doing stealth in traditional sense, but I kind of just I walk up to abandoned camp and I see it's highlighted, then I step back a few steps, cast my spells, do my oils, and then I run in. It's not stealth per se, but I'm still engaging them without them knowing, and then I'm coming in when I'm prepared, right?
But I mean, and the thing is too that stealth games, while they can be open in level design, are usually somewhat linear, and open world games I think are kind of just a different ball game altogether. Like they create the detail for the sake of world building.
I was so pumped, and I was so impressed again graphically with this game. And my heart was literally broken because I think this was the only game of the press conference, Totes, that they announced for Xbox One and PS4, and there was no PC announcement, and I literally cried a little bit inside.
I think it'll come out on PC.
Oh my god, I hope so. But I'm like, wow. But you know what? Again, I'm like, wow, what a treat for finally. And we were saying this maybe in episode 1 or 2 of our show that, it feels like our machines aren't doing jack. They're not truly next gen machines. And now, I mean, we're only on day 1 of E3, and we've seen 2 trailers for these 2 games that just look amazing. And so far, fingers crossed, they're running pretty smooth frame rate wise.
Well, what surprised me about the conference too was they're not only adding new games, they're adding onto their existing franchises. Like, whoever thought The Elder Scrolls Online would be popular enough to warrant an expansion.
Yeah, well, and not just an expansion. I mean, that was the next announcement was for ESO, and I was impressed, and I was telling Totes too. I'm like, he owns it on PS4. I have it on PC. It's a lot older for me. Like, I haven't played it in a while.
Yeah, but it's a new. I'm that cat man named Dirty McGillicuddy. I look a little bit like Mufasa, but you know what? I got that bow and arrow.
That's right. And I was it just brought a smile to my face that, even though they went free to play and they are on console, I really like that Bethesda has chosen to really support this game. And yeah, they're doing an expansion, but it looks like it's so much more than expansion. There's so many updates that they've added. And hell, what kind of sold me was fucking you can ride a goddamn bear in armor. I was like, sold.
We saw it. We did not see that you could buy it.
Well, let's face it. It's going to be for sale.
I want it.
Yeah, it's going to be for sale, and I'm going to fucking buy one, and I'm going to ride a goddamn grizzly everywhere.
I think that would be the only mount that I would ever purchase.
Yeah, that was awesome. But they're adding the Imperial City in Tamriel, and they're doing the Orc City, and I can't remember the name of it. Orgrimmar, yeah.
I'm kidding. That's World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, god damn it! But
it's joke podcast.
Yeah.
I think, and it's a Blizzard joke too. Look at that. My Blizzard is rubbing off on you.
You should know this.
Yeah, I should have gone on that. Warcraft really is for plebs. Any real gamer will tell you that.
I only got to put like a month of time into that game. Fuck that noise.
Bro, it's all about the Warcraft 3. The good old days.
Ooh, the old school, yes. So they had the 2 major cities. They had a bunch of other things going on. It seemed like there's a lot planned this year for the Elder Scrolls Online, and it just makes me so happy that maybe I will go into this game, and maybe I did upgrade my PC, but maybe I do get this game on console because they again. Did you notice in the conference they didn't announce that this was for PC? It was the console edition that was getting. So again, I can't help but think the PC will get this stuff too. But
you have to think of your lowest common denominator, right? Most people do have consoles. And that would be the lowest setting that it could potentially run on.
Well, and this is where it's most exciting too, right? As people are trying to log in, there's login problems with this game because it's so new and everyone wants a piece. So I guess maybe it is for PC and they just didn't announce it because console is the flavor right now. It's exciting.
It'll be on PC, man.
I don't even think they announced systems because as an expansion, it's just out for everything.
I think they announced it in the very, very beginning. They mentioned PS4.
I mean, MMOs are rare enough. Like, I mean, most MMO players are going to be on PC.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, yeah, they're pretty rare on consoles as is. So I would be very, very, very surprised if they didn't put it out on PC.
Although I'm surprised they didn't announce another, not so much a race, but another class to play. Like, there's only 5 classes in the game. And I know you can level them up differently. There's variations to each of those classes. But I thought for sure...
But, bro, you can play cards.
yes. The Elder Scrolls is coming out with a strategical card game, kind of like
Round of Gwent.
Yeah, like Gwent or Magic the Gathering.
Gwent is good.
Well, we don't know yet though because we only saw like a teaser of a teaser trailer.
Yeah,
we didn't even actually
CGI
see gameplay. We just saw these legends. It's called, right? So we saw these legends. And the trailer was kind of neat, but it doesn't show you anything. It doesn't show you any cards. It really doesn't tell you anything other than this game exists.
I feel like this is them trying to cash in on the Hearthstone popularity right now.
Well, and Gwent's really popular, and hell, Magic the Gathering is still a popular card game.
Oh yeah, of course.
$110 for a complete set online. Come on.
Yeah, Gwent is selling for a lot of money online too, just those decks. And I think if they do a really good job, they have enough creatures and lore and characters to make a lot of cards.
Well, it's free to play.
Yeah, and it's free
on both PC and iOS.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be able to sink a lot of time into it without spending a lot, hopefully.
Now to fast forward a bit and go backwards too. The only other free thing that they did too was the Fallout. There's a Fallout game you can download tonight as well for your iOS device. I don't think they said anything about Android, but definitely
they did.
They did?
Yeah,
it's on Android?
well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I only heard Apple, and I was like, heartbroken again because I'm an Android guy. But
no, it's on both.
I really love. I don't know how you guys feel about this, and I think it's a no-brainer. I can pretty much guess how you feel, but I really love that Bethesda came out like us, like nerds, and they're passionately discussing their product. But not only that, they're like, we realize there's a lot of shit games out there, like especially in the phone space. So we made this game free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This card game is going to be free and no pay. And they said straight off, no paywall. If you want to buy this extra shit for the Fallout game,
yeah, that was something that I thought was cool. They're not like. They mentioned that like for the Fallout game and the Bethesda one, there's going to be microtransactions, but they were like, they kept it very low key. They were like, they'll be there, but like, don't worry about it.
It's not necessary. You can play this game even offline.
It's
they're not like
extra random items that you can get.
Yeah, they're not like card packs are going to be $5.99 pre-order
and
today.
You need it if you want to get by level 1.
Yeah,
okay, seriously, when you can pre-order card packs, I'm done with it.
No, yeah, I know. It's just pulling that out of my ass. But like.
I really love it. The Bethesda show really seemed like a love letter to all of their fans, and I felt the love. I did, and I love that these things are going to be free, and and I think they're going to make a lot of money off the Fallout game because it looks like it kind of looks like XCOM.
Speaking of love letter, right? That was the end of the show officially, so there's no other things to talk about.
Yeah, right.
That joke was totally not done in the conference.
Yeah, no, they did. They totally did, and then they said, "Oh, wait a minute, Fallout." They waited for the fans to scream.
Howard, you gorgeous fuck.
Get a haircut, you hippie. And then obviously Fallout, and I know we were talking about it in episode 3. how I was worried, and I brought it up to you, Totes and Archer, that I'm like, wow, this doesn't appear to be a next gen game. Because the graphics, like the environments seem to look okay, but looking at that trailer, and it was the very first trailer, I was a little concerned that the textures on the people didn't look so great, and the flashbacks from the future to the present and so on, like it just looked kind of last gen-y to me. And holy shit, was I ever fucking wrong. Like I was so wrong, because you look at the character creation screen, and you do get to play in pre-war. And it's really cool, but it looks like it is just going to be the character generation, and then you're getting into the classic Fallout.
And I quote, "This is how you customize your character. Your wife and you looking into a mirror as your nose is stretched and things of the sort."
It reminded me of that Mario 64 game where his face is just there, and you can pull on it, and he goes, "Oh, it's a me."
I mean, it is not the best looking game that's out. Like even compared to some of the games out right now, it's not the best looking. But I think for the fact that like, the world is going to be so huge, and there's so many different textures in the game and stuff.
Oh my god!
It's 100%
like you were
passable and better.
You're talking about Dishonored and how it wants you to focus on the world building. In Fallout, you could walk into some asshole's house and pick up a fork.
Yeah.
Steal that shit.
Yeah,
and that's how detailed.
And the fact that it looks as good as it does. And just the fact that you can just pick up some random ass fucking piece, and that fork you can actually fucking make use of in game too, right? I mean, it just like the character.
Good to see that they're finally able to craft shitty loot items that you would have in the other games. Like
you just sold for caps or whatever. Yeah.
So kind of starting at the, I want to kind of touch on that too, but like going from the beginning of the demo. One thing that I thought was really cool was that it looks like there's going to be more animations where you actually are going to see your hands too.
Yes.
Like in Fallout 3, you kind of had that like invisible frog pickup kind of thing. Whereas like in the trailer we saw, even at the very beginning of the game when he goes to play with his baby, he reaches out and actually touches them and stuff like that.
And he's playing with the knobs on his Pip-Boy too.
Yeah, I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot more involvement with that, just because little touches like that really improve the immersion.
Yeah, and I like too that the Pip-Boy itself, when you're actually in the screens, and normally in Fallout 3 when you see him, he's just the Pip-Boy standing there with his body damage, or you just see a picture of the gun. But they're animated within the Pip-Boy, like Pip-Boy moves, and the guns revolve, and they're kind of like in this cool 3D screen.
And you can play Jumpman.
That kind of was bullshit. The Atari games that you can play on it, basically.
Yeah, it's just extra stuff.
Yeah, it is. Whatever. But I do like the fact that those little details, those attention to details with your screen, and oh my god, before we get any further,
speaking of Pip-Boys,
yes,
you got to bring this up.
The collector's edition was announced, no price. But oh my god, it comes with a goddamn Pip-Boy.
I'm still guessing $269.99 Canadian.
And see, I'm thinking $199, and I'm thinking the American price too. I'm not thinking how we're gonna get gouged in Canada, but I'm thinking $199.99 American.
So like $800 Canadian.
Yeah,
your soul.
Yeah, something's fucking ridiculous. But this thing is gorgeous. But I don't think it's gonna be quite that expensive, Totes, just because it seems to me like it's just a shell. It opens up, your smartphone goes in, or your whatever.
Here's the thing. Because it holds your iDevice or your mobile device of any kind, plug, that'll be part of its cost.
Maybe.
Plus, it's a wearable item. When you start getting into things you can wear, the price goes up.
It depends on the quality, and I hope you're right though. Like, I mean, if it's more expensive because the quality of this thing is great, and you can even wear it to say like Comic Cons or as a cosplay thing. Not that I would, but
where else are you gonna wear it?
Yeah, I mean, if it's quality enough where you can do that, then
into the shower. Let's do
then it might be worth it, right? Because I mean, watches are worth that kind of money.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if it's the same kind of quality, I'm actually for that, and I would pay that.
I would legitimately rather get one of those than an iWatch or an Apple Watch.
Oh, dude, you'd get so much mad respect to all the nerd ladies.
I don't even care. My own respect.
Looks this like giant.
Hey, Totes, what time is it?
Bitch, I got bats. Don't know how to use them yet.
So I mean, I literally I couldn't hold it in when we were watching that, and Totes was sitting right beside me, and I'm like, oh, I gotta have this. Like, this is amazing.
More exciting is the compatibility it has with the game.
Yes,
right, because you download an app onto your phone, and it'll sync with your game wirelessly. Mm-hmm. So when you actually go into your inventory screen on the game, you just fucking look down at your wrist, and you can do your levels and stuff, or like change weapons and stuff. That's insane. Like that's gonna, we're talking about immersion. Well, there
Yeah.
you go, right? Like, you're actually looking away from your television.
You're actually
screen,
using your
so-
fucking Pip-Boy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and it's cool too that they're giving the option for those who aren't buying the collectors to still have it on their cell phone if they
Yeah.
want.
And it's free.
Yeah, and
That
it's
is
free,
also is
you know?
100% free, and they could have charged like the Assassin's Creed app bullshit for like the couple bucks or whatever. But no, free again, free. And you know, we love you, Bethesda. We really do. Like, I mean, to me, I think it's going to be pretty damn hard to beat that conference that we just saw. I mean, it was fucking
They
great.
came out arms flailing,
Yeah.
shots fired, gauntlet thrown, whatever metaphor you want to use.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and that's just like, I mean, we're just scratching the tip of Fallout here. I mean, with your Pip-Boy, I just thought about this now while you're
Weird analogy, but go on.
yeah, while you're looking at your inventory and stuff, there's so many other things you're doing. Like, again, in episode 3, we kind of speculate on crafting, and
There's a
holy,
little bit of that.
I was
Yeah.
wrong. I have to say I was wrong because I thought maybe use that garage to craft weapons and armor. You can goddamn create a fortress.
Yeah.
You can create a house,
town.
like- yeah,
You know, like, yeah.
literally
turrets.
Yeah.
There's electric. Like, wow. This game is so big.
Here's
and not
the
only,
thing, though. You don't just create one town. You can create multiple towns. You can take everything you have at one and take it with you, or you can set up a courier system
Yeah.
between the two.
yeah,
And
like,
then the game makes dynamic events in it.
Yeah.
Like, raiders will come and
And they
trader
say this-
people will come through your town and settle there. And, like,
yeah.
that's just fucking
And then,
nuts,
and then the
man.
announcer, Mr. Howard or whatever, he goes, "Yeah, this is just a small part of the game," and we're looking, going, "Are you kidding me? This is where we're going to spend most of our time."
Yeah.
Come at me, Raiders!
I'm guaranteeing like 90 hours are customization and crafting alone.
Yeah, setting up my Brahmin business while I'm
It's gonna
fighting
take me,
off
like,
Raiders.
3 days just to decide on my character's features.
Dude, I mean,
Yeah.
there was games on PC, like a game called Rust, that is basically that premise. You're building stuff from scratch. It's kind of an apocalyptic era, and this is just a side thing you do in Fallout, right?
Yeah, like, and they said, you never have to do this
Yeah.
if you choose not to. Like, you know, along with the really in-depth weapon customization
Oh
that
my
they
God,
showcased
yes.
as well, where, like, they have, what did they say? It was like 50 weapons, like base weapons, right? And there's
Yeah.
like 700 different things that you can customize with them.
Modifications
Like,
and yeah, and
That
I just,
includes your armor too.
yeah.
Yeah, and I like that it shows piece by piece now, like on your Pip-Boy as well as because your inventory doesn't just say like Merc suit like it did in Fallout 3. It will, but you can actually add pieces to that Merc suit. You can add, like, it looks like you can add leather bits and some steel bits and some whatever, and it shows you on the rack or wherever the armor is hanging. And I thought that was so cool. Same with weapons. Like, I might make a pistol, the exact same base pistol, whatever it's called, and Totes may make something completely different out of the same pistol.
You can turn it
and-
into a rifle if
Plasma
you
rifle all
want.
the way.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be insane. And, like, the cool thing that they really emphasized during the show was that these features will really make everyone's experience their own.
Yeah.
Like, nobody is going to have the same Fallout experience because there's so many different variables in terms of customization that, like, you know, I might boot up your game one day and be like, holy shit, I can't believe you did all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a game of that size, I mean, there's bound to be things that we don't even know or learn or even think to do until you see somebody else's, you know, how they've tackled that situation. It's just, this game is so fucking immense and big, and I'm so
4K RAM.
I am so glad
what
to
it
be
says.
wrong
crazy.
about this game. Like, the things that I thought about it weren't even like, I wasn't even close to the breadth of their ambition that they put into this game, because it seems just like, and I'm so glad.
Move over, Call of Duty dog.
Oh, yeah.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you guys think about the dog?
I like the dog.
Meat still has his championship belt for best canine in a
Best
video
Doge.
game.
Yeah, and I was telling Toads that too. I was just like, why is it when we see the dog in Call of Duty, everyone fucking hates it, and then we see it in Fallout, we're like, oh, this is fucking awesome, and he's
This
great,
one
and he's
does
my
cool
and he's my
shit.
buddy, and it's so weird. It's the same thing basically. I don't know, but
It just looks like it is going to increase a lot of the immersion too, because, like,
Mm-hmm.
the dog is going to be helping you out, but again, you have that player choice of not having the dog if you don't want it,
I
right?
think,
Like,
yeah,
you
and
know,
I
you
think
can do
too,
whatever
he
you want with
seems
it.
more of a companion too. Like, he seems more of somebody who's going to keep you company out in the
Well, there was
lonely wasteland.
companions in the other games as well.
Yeah, there was, and there was even the dog in Fallout 3, but it didn't feel like
His
they.
name was also Dog Meat.
Yeah, it didn't feel like he was keeping you company, right? He just was a guy. He was just a companion you had. But this game, it kind of seems like I don't know if it's the graphical upgrade or how the dog behaves itself, but it just seems like he's more a pet and a friend. And from the brief gameplay that I saw, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like maybe
perhaps it's due to the lack of a child pet and a wife.
Oh yes, they don't make it, people.
Who knows? They're just not in the trailer. They could be out there.
And to answer our other speculatory thing from episode 3 too is the timeline. Well, we now know that apparently they don't go into spoilers in the show, so we can't spoil it ourselves. We can only surmise what happens. But 200 years passes, so the only way I can think of that happening is that vault is some sort of cryo vault, like where you go to sleep for.
That's a long time after Fallout 3 takes place too, eh?
I believe so, yeah. So it can't be connected.
It's actually the same time.
Is it?
Yeah, Fallout 3 is actually set in the future as well.
How far into the future, though?
225, 55?
Yeah,
so
man. This is supposed to, I remember when you pick up the Pip-Boy, it says...
I think it's 2025 when Fallout 3 takes place.
You should search that up.
I'm going to look it up
right now. Because I remember when he boots up the Pip-Boy, it says copyright 2075.
Something like that,
So it's supposed to take place further.
So it's definitely happening either before or after the events of Fallout 3.
Sorry, I was way off. 2277 was Fallout 3.
So this is happening quite a bit before then, I guess, isn't it? So we're...
no, I think it would be around the same time then.
Oh, is
it?
If
it's 200 years after.
Technically in the game, the nuclear holocaust happens in 2077.
Oh, okay. So then 200 years there, so it's roughly the same time. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So that could potentially be Dog Meat, I guess.
There's a lot of consistency with it.
Yeah.
You know, like even we saw the Brotherhood briefly in the trailer.
Yeah. True to Kaiser. He was not in it, but I like saying it. Free Dog wasn't in it, but again, he's cool.
But he's alive and well, though. It's the same time. You know he's there.
I fucking hope so.
And you can just cross your fingers and hope you run into him.
Honestly, that's one of the things that makes it immersive for me is that soundtrack. I love the radio stations in the game.
Yeah, you know
Maybe he'll be like that fucking Khajiit in Elder Scrolls that's like always wandering around.
Maybe.
Recurring. Because he's in all of them, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I find, too, from the very first trailer when they play... what the hell was the name of that song?
Set the World on Fire?
No, that was amazing from Fallout 3's trailer, but the Fallout 4 trailer sounds kind of similar to Set the World on Fire, but it's... I can't remember the name of the song now. But then they play another song and they show you the combat of Fallout 4, which is a lot faster paced. It's more of a twitch shooter. And I just found like...
Yeah, the song was called It's All Over But the Crime.
Yes. And then they played one during the conference, and I found, although good, and it seems to kind of fit the Fallout theme, they didn't grab me. Like, man, when I heard I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire, I was just spellbound, and I was, oh my god, I cannot wait to play this. And the soundtrack didn't really grab me this time, and I don't know, maybe there's going to be, like, there's probably a shit ton of songs.
I think it will grab you. It just took a back seat because they were trying to demonstrate, hey, you can literally craft anything.
Well, my mind kept getting blown,
Yeah.
You know, and then, again, the change to VATS, which we were, again, discussing in episode 3, happened. The game doesn't pause anymore, and you can't just take your time lining up that shot and comparing percentages, which the better shot to take. They're moving at you still, and it looks like they're moving at a fairly decent pace.
It's slowed down considerably, but it's
you still have to make a choice. Yeah, and I kind of like that. I think it's good. I don't know. But the combat too, and it seems like you really have to rely more on skill. I wonder how that's going to play into the game though, because the Fallout and Skyrim games are technically they're math based, right? Like because you level up, so you level up your you say your pistols that use bullets, not lasers. So you level that up, and then it's a dice roll whenever you shoot at a guy, right? If your skill's high enough and his defense is low enough, you either hit or miss. Now it seems like in this game,
normally with projectiles, yeah. But with VATS, it was right.
Yeah,
if I recall. But I mean, normally when you're just shooting at guys, it's the same properties as a normal shooter.
Yeah, and this one seemed a lot more Twitch shooter, like Call of Duty style almost. Like there's a few.
He's literally Iron Man.
Yes, the Brotherhood armor has rockets on the back.
Yeah.
That was fucking sweet. Now it's not Brotherhood armor though, because they say it's power armor, and there is a difference. I know the Brotherhood armor is supposed to be a little bit different.
Power armor is just the general term that they used for heavy armor, like Enclave armor.
But I believe when you got Brotherhood armor, it was lighter. You could carry more. Still, there was a difference.
No, in Fallout 3, there was actually a perk. I can't remember what it was called, but
you had to join. You had to join the Brotherhood though to get that perk. Like you couldn't just get the perk. You had to side with them. When against the fight, I believe
they were the only ones you could side with.
Okay, well, you had to choose the like whatever, but it was a perk you got from the Brotherhood that makes that the training, they called it, the power armor training, and then you could carry it. And it seems like to me again the Brotherhood is not a friendly presence in this game. So like I don't know. I mean, but again, like they say in the presentation, you can talk to these people, you can cut a conversation off at any point in time. Hell, you can even fucking shoot them in the face.
Yeah.
So maybe the other good guys and the guy playing the demo was just going ham.
Speaking of conversations, your character has a voice this time.
Yeah,
it's fucking awesome. Going back to the sound
Archer was quite happy with that when he heard the guy talk. Yeah,
because again, that is one thing that's always bugged me about those games is like you're talking to so many NPCs and all they do is just talk at you.
Now,
listen, Archer, Troy Baker can only do so many roles.
Yeah, well, you know what? He can do this one, I guess.
No, it was kind of corny though. But in the character creation, he's like, "What do you think of my beard, honey? Beard or no beard?"
Yeah, that was cool. It was a neat twist. And
yeah, it was.
And how like if you switch genders, the woman goes in front of the mirror and you start like customizing her. That was cool.
I thought Heavy Rain for a second there when he's shaving. And then I was like, Kevin, or whatever the boy's name is.
Really?
I don't know why, but that hit my head because he's like, beard, no beard, and you're shaving, and it's
Jason.
Yeah, Jason.
Bethesda's always been pretty creative in like setting up that early game way of speccing your character and like deciding what you want to do, and it's nice to see that they've done that as well. Like with the guy coming to your door and like asking some questions about you, and that's how you like spec into different stuff. And
I already am making theories in my mind that is the mysterious stranger.
Possible. He is wearing a trench coat and a hat again. Maybe, who knows? That'd be really cool if they tied a lot more of that stuff in. I think
you forget he was also featured in the first trailer as well.
Yeah, no, I know, absolutely. I think though that he's just meant to be in the trailer. He's not supposed to. I don't think it's supposed to be anything, complex or convoluted or a hint to something. I think it's just a cool Easter egg they put in there, and I think the Mysterious Stranger perk will be in Fallout 4, and you will see him.
That was my favorite.
And I think that's all it is. I don't think it's meant to be anything more than just it's just a nod or an Easter egg to the Mysterious Stranger in general. I mean, I kind of hope that's all it is because I don't need to know anything more. Like it's a cool perk to have for sure when you miss and then he shows up to execute the dude for you.
Yeah.
That's the fun of it, right? I don't need a storyline for that.
Can we go on to the biggest news about Fallout 4?
Mm-hmm.
Its release date?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Well, after all that, and like I didn't even care about release date, and it was one of the most important things to us because they were doing so many announcements and so many perks and whatnot. And then it goes 111 the vault, and it expands, and it's gonna be
November 10th, 2015. Yeah. This year. How many games from E3 would you say generally out of each year actually come out that year?
Not very many, but
Call of Duty, maybe a Battlefield,
especially not within the scope of what Fallout 4 is doing.
And it gives me a lot of hope too because they were saying they got to work on that game right after Fallout 3, so they had a lot of time.
Right after Skyrim, they said.
Yeah, they started work after Fallout 3, but they were also working Skyrim, and then they were working on that too. So they've had a lot of time.
Still 4 years. That's a lot.
Yeah, so it gives me a lot of hope that this game hopefully will be ready that time. I mean, it's still going to have bugs. Let's face it. There's going to be bugs. There's going to be things that annoy us. It's not going to be perfect because the world's just so huge. But
especially on Sony systems.
Yeah, I plan on playing on PC this time. Now that they got my sweet upgrades. And there's always awesome mods. There's always awesome mods for Fallout, and I don't want to miss out this time. So I'm very happy. I mean, for me, I'm going to put it out there right now. That's probably going to be my game of the year, 2015. This game comes out in 2015. It's going to be my game of the year, 2015. It looks like there's just that much stuff to do. And we don't even know anything about story, really. Yeah. We just know that the shit hits the fan. You rush to a vault. Your wife and daughter or son or whoever make it with you. And then you wake up 200 years later.
And dog.
Yeah.
And you just find a dog.
And you're the only... You're the only...
your robot's still alive, and he's like, hey, buddy, it's been 200 years. Let me get you a snack. And then you're like,
holy shit, did you survive a nuclear blast?
Yeah.
He's like, do you not see the dust on me?
The rust in the dust? Yeah. And that's all we know, right?
Fucking 3PO.
Maybe this... And that's the thing, too. We see all these really epic things and really cool things, but... I mean, we all know Fallout's probably going to have a ridiculously good story, too. And we didn't get any of that. And I was so satisfied. All we saw were mechanics and gameplay. And I was just blown away by that. Never mind.
Bring back Liam Neeson. Bring back Liam.
Hashtag bring back Liam.
Yeah.
Fallout 3 never had the most robust storyline either, but it had compelling enough gameplay where you're just like, fuck the main story. Press X to dad physics. Who cares?
One thing too to look forward is Bethesda games always have like really cool Easter eggs within the world, like nods to pop culture and stuff like that. And it's going to be pretty cool what they can do with that now.
Yeah, I mean, wow. And
Let's be honest though, one arrow to the knee joke, and I'm turning that shit off.
That'd be funny.
I'm really, really hoping, and I know Bethesda is fairly good with their dates. I believe. I don't think they've pushed a lot of things.
The Evil Within.
Yeah, but
Wolfenstein.
I'm
still
really,
salty
but that's
about
not their core
I love
core
Evil
properties.
Within. Eventually, it'll get a sequel. Hopefully,
Yeah, who knows? Well, horror genre is doing better.
Did it sell well?
it's sold all right.
Yeah.
I think it probably sold well enough.
Yeah.
If we're being honest. But I just really, really, really hope now that, I mean, and this is one of the things we talk about all the time, and I really hope this wasn't just them giving us a date for giving us a date's sake. I really hope that it's ready for this, and that they don't have to push it. And because if they do, it's just gonna piss me off. Don't give me a date then. Just tell me 2015 or 2016. Don't give me November 10th, 2015. You know, unless it's fucking ready, because it's just gonna, I'm gonna buy it anyways. Like, it doesn't matter, but it's just insulting after you had this great conference and this great love letter to all the people that have loved your games over the years. Don't screw us over with a false date.
Yeah,
I'll be so fucking choked if they do that.
I'm pretty confident they'll get it in time. I mean, from the looks of it, a lot of the game is already done.
I mean, if you're going to do that, if you're going to fuck us over on the date, go earlier. What game did that? Oh, yeah, sorry, guys. We have to change the release date of the game. We're actually going to do 2 weeks earlier.
Shadows of Mordor.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay. Awesome.
Thanks, guy.
Yeah, that's wicked. Thanks. Like, if Fallout does that, anything like that, then please give it to us early. That'd be great.
It shows a lot of confidence in their product, not only that they released a trailer a week previous to E3.
Yeah.
They've announced it the same year as the E3 it was shown. And they're putting it up against Call of Duty and whatever other big titles.
Yeah, because that's Call of Duty week-ish.
Yeah, but really,
right?
is Call of Duty really a contender? I don't think the same people that line up to buy Fallout are going to be the same people that line up to buy Call of Duty.
You'd be surprised. I think Fallout is one of those games that can transcend.
I mean,
oh, absolutely.
still...
But I'm just saying. I think the Call of Duty fans, they're that. I think they're not shrinking, but they are.
You can still quick scope.
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, at the end of the day, especially with games being like $90 now, there are going to be a lot of people who only can buy one game that month or something like that, right? So,
I'm going to say for like the 3 people listening, fuck Call of Duty, get Fallout. Let's start a movement here. Let's start a movement. Let's show Activision. Screw you. Get your goddamn shit together, because Fallout, that's how you make a sequel.
But I mean, given how well Call of Duty does commercially, regardless of the quality of the game, it is, like you said, Totes, a lot of confidence in your product to put it up against that kind of behemoth.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
2 weeks before that, Halo 5 comes out.
Yeah,
that'll take a lot of the sales away too. And we haven't even begun to learn about what other games are coming in November.
Oh my god!
Tomorrow, a game called Battlefront is a week after.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Eh?
Tomorrow being the Microsoft conference, Microsoft's going to try to come out swinging this year, especially after the god awful E3 they had last year. You just know they're going to have some big announcements. I think they're going to have some very big changes within their ecosystem they're going to announce. I honestly think that, they know they've got the most to prove this year. Yeah. And I think they're going to do it. I honestly think that...
Let's see some Tomb Raider.
I think they're going to have
that would be Square Enix.
I'm going to put it out here, and I think they're going to have the better show between the big 3. So I think they're going to have a better show than Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo. And coming from me, I don't have any love for the XP system.
If Sony announces Last of Us 2, I think then they'll just
The Last Guardian.
By the way,
just
Last Guardian heavily rumored to be there.
I don't know.
The upcoming events, we'll go through them here. Microsoft has one, EA, Ubisoft, Sony, Nintendo, Square Enix, and PC Gaming.
Yeah. Now, like I said, the big 3. I honestly think that. I think PC, this is their big, for lack of any better words, I think this is their big coming out party. They've been around forever, and they're great, But I think this is the time where they become super popular. They're like, you know what? Screw this. PC gaming's for everybody. You know, this is the platform you should be playing on.
Well, PC, like, the thing is, yeah, I mean, for most people, it was like PC was kind of an afterthought because PC, you know, realistically, to play the same game in some circumstances, you need to go shell out like over $1,000 to buy a decent PC, right?
Yeah.
But now with a lot of the like really popular free to play games, like
Free and slip, sorry.
yeah, well, free to play games like you know, like League and Dota and shit like that.
Yeah.
The PC is definitely
Mods, man.
really taken wind.
Modding
yeah.
community. I mean, they add so much more life to your games. They fix your games faster than the developers do. You know, and it's not that expensive to buy PCs anymore like it used to be. You know, you can get a decent PC for a fair price. I mean, you can get a decent PC for under $1,000, and let's face it, by the time you're done getting your pocket picked at GameStop, when you have to buy your PS4 and you got to buy your second controller,
fuck those guys, right?
and then you got to buy your camera, and then you got to buy your warranty for it, and then you got to buy your other game for it, and you got to buy your controller skins.
Forgot about pre-ordering another game.
Yeah, and then pre-order another game, and then protect all that shit too. You've already walked out spending $1,000, and you're like, man, I could have had a PC for this.
Yeah. No kidding,
You know.
Okay, so out of the other press conferences that are there, who do you think is going to quote unquote win E3 for you?
I'm really hoping PC comes out and has this amazing show.
Not biased at all.
And but it's their first show. I want to see them come out and be a big. I want to see more competition with Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. I really do. I really hope that part of the PC press conference is the Steam box.
Yeah.
I just really want to see a successful show.
We'll at least get a pre-order date.
Yeah,
well,
for
the
sure.
cool thing about PC too is that there's so much more potential for them to bring out a lot of really cool upcoming indie games.
Yeah.
I mean, they obviously do indie games on the other consoles and stuff too, but like, I mean, you know, just go on PSN and go onto Steam and compare the amount of indie titles on each, right?
Well,
I actually read a statistic the other day where it said that only 34% of all video games make it to retail.
something like that. Yeah,
I think
don't
that
know.
includes iOS though too, right? And
That
mobile
statistic didn't.
and shit.
Yeah.
That one did not.
Oh,
Wow. I don't know, man. I really hope that, and a lot of people don't know this that are console gamers because they're used to going to the local retailer, whoever that may be, the Best Buy, Future Shops, GameStops, mom and pop shops, and they don't realize, for example, like servers or services like Steam, goodoldgames.com, even Origin Store. They have consistent deals all the time digitally. Like Steam is always having a sale. They're in the middle of their summer sale right now.
Same with Good Old Games.
Yeah, and Good Old Games too. And I mean, these are cheaper. And not to mention that they're also retailed cheaper. And I don't know what the difference is, but Microsoft and Sony are selling the same game at the same retail price.
Well, I was having a conversation with Archer on the way over here, and I checked online for the Steam summer sale. A digital copy and a retail copy of Lego Jurassic World for the PS4 runs at about $65.
Insane.
Very high for a Lego game, I would say. Steam, it has it for $32.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a difference.
So,
That's doable.
and I really hope that in this E3 that when PC comes out, they go, don't undersell the PC. Yes, we're more expensive than Microsoft, and we're more expensive than Sony and Nintendo to get into.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
but
to maintain.
once you see our excellent Steam service and you see our pricing and you see the mods and everything you get with it, it's more than worth your money, and it's more than going to make up for what you're getting on these other things. Be the Cadillac of gaming. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
And be what you are.
Make that into a fucking
Well,
t-shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, not to mention, like, just because it's fresh in our mind, Dishonored is a good example. Like, you can go buy Dishonored at retail right now for like, I don't know,
$40,
$30 or whatever it is, or you can get it on a Steam sale for $5.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think it was like
that's the thing.
$374 something like that.
Yeah,
on
I mean,
Steam.
the thing is, PC is more expensive to get into, and like, but when there are these sales,
you save
you
so
can
much.
buy like 5 or 6 games for the same price that it would be to get that one, like that first game that you get. You know,
And I can't stress enough, mods and patch fixing, UI updating.
Hear
This,
that, Mrs. Flanders?
yeah, this is so huge, and I really hope that the Microsoft conference too. I really hope, and that's why I think they're going to come out swinging, and I think they're going to have the better conference out of the console.
You're still on PC then.
I'm still rooting PC, yes, but I really think we're going to see a lot more integration stuff with PC and Xbox One. And Sony's going to be left out in the cold there. Oh, do you want to play Elder Scrolls with your PC friends? Now you can with the Xbox service. Sorry, Sony, you're fucked. You don't get to play with anyone.
What about you, Archer? Which conference do you think is going to be surprising enough for winning E3 for you?
Hashtag Nintendo for life.
Guess what, guys? We're bringing out more amiibos.
Dukes, are you here?
No, he's too busy in his dungeon.
I don't know, man. Bethesda might actually take the cake for me, just because like Fallout looks sick. I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised by Doom.
They hit all the high notes.
Then like I'm just such a Dishonored fanboy that any info from that is great.
Yeah.
But like, I'd like to see Sony do well. I think for me, between the big three, and I guess to another extent PC, the one that focuses the least on like appliances and shit like that, peripherals, yeah, shit like that, like will probably be the one I like, because I really like it when they focus on the games. Like,
here's the thing, though.
You know,
two peripherals that are going to be
Oculus
mandatory.
Rift.
VR, because Sony has Morbius that they're
which is their Oculus Rift basically.
Yeah, and there is that partnership with Microsoft, and the other one is most people have a smartphone. That's going to be your second peripheral for most things.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
What do you think's gonna? What's your dark horse pick here for winning E3, Totes?
Well, it ain't going to be fucking Ubisoft. I'll tell you that.
Well, you don't want to play Just Dance 2016?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with the
Assassin's
dark horse.
Creed.
I'm gonna go with the dark horse. I'm gonna go EA.
Oh,
I want to see that Mass Effect. There's gonna be some Battlefront gameplay.
Yeah.
Let's determine if this game's gonna be a heap of shit or not.
Yeah.
I'm going to heap of shit.
The optimist.
Oh my god, so optimistic.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
You know,
To be honest,
it's a good pick. It's a good pick.
With the big three, fuck you guys. I'm going Nintendo.
Wow.
They're the ones that are in it to win it. They have the most to lose, to be honest.
But they don't seem to care though. They just do what they do, and they're gonna gouge you on amiibos till
the
the cows come home.
Here's the thing, though.
Bayonetta 3.
They're the company that has been caring the longest. We watched today. They had a bunch of Nintendo events.
Yeah, they did
What
some
other
tournaments.
company live streamed that?
Yeah.
They gave out a trophy. They had the head of their departments meeting people.
But also, do you think they gotta do those kind of things? Like Sony and Microsoft are so huge now. People line up on Madden Day, and people line up on COD Day. People aren't lining up on, what the hell, Splatoon Day. Like,
when the majority of your market is overseas, it's going to be a little bit harder. That being said, I'm not making excuses, but Nintendo is the one company that acknowledges that what sells for them, their first-party titles.
yeah.
And they're going to be cranking that out. There's rumor that Metroid's going to be at E3. Star Fox was last year.
Now, before I ask you another question here, Totes, do you think we're seeing Zelda this E3?
To some extent, I would say yes. Whether it just be a little bit of gameplay referencing,
Because they've already said not this year now, right? That's for sure.
It was pushback.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be there in a large capacity. I think most of it is going to be focused either on Star Fox or
Coming on our next hardware system, Zelda, that we promised you on our last system.
Well, I mean, The Last of Us was advertised at E3 for 3 years.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, fair enough. Now, what do you want to see happen at E3, and what don't you want to see it happen at E3, Totes? We've already kind of. I think the Bethesda show was pretty great so far, but what do you want to see, and what don't you want to see?
There's so many things.
Just pick. You only get one. You only get one that you want to see, and one you don't want to see.
What I don't want to see is awkward jokes.
Fake camaraderie.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool that you have Aisha Tyler up for Ubisoft because she can at least speak to a crowd, but there was even some awkward moments in Bethesda. Like telling people the show's over.
Yeah, teasing us when we know Fallout's coming.
Yeah.
Or when they cut back and the dude's on his tablet. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, well,
I didn't see you there.
I like to play tablet games.
It
Introducing our next tablet game. Like, come on,
It makes
dude.
me like grimace inside when I hear the crowd, like they're going for the crowd cheering for a game, right? But when the crowd is booing you,
Yeah.
because you didn't announce that game, you're getting the wrong reaction.
I don't know, it's just so corny.
When all you have to do is go,
like,
and next Fallout 4, and the crowd goes fucking wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no kidding, right? Like,
You know what? Sony, when they announced the PS4, they mic dropped the hardest I've ever seen at E3, especially with all that shit that was going on at Microsoft at the time.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen a standing ovation at E3 just on merit alone.
All right, and what do you want to see then?
What do I want to see?
We know what you don't want to see.
I just want to see companies supporting first-party titles, and I want to see a new IP.
For the Nintendo, you mean, or
For
just
any system.
Any system? Oh.
I want to see something that a company will stand by. Nintendo is probably the least likely to do that this year.
Hashtag fuck sequels,
Yeah, hopefully.
except Fallout and Dishonored. Small disclaimer.
yeah.
And Mass Effect. And
Well, maybe wait a minute.
technically Battlefront.
Wait
Call
a
of
minute.
Duty,
Maybe we love our sequels. So.
Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed.
Don't lie, Daryl. You eat that shit up.
Oh, candy.
Yeah, but I'm willing to bet that with the loss of Phantom Dust, if fucking Quantum Break is there, that would be disappointing. But I want to see a new Microsoft IP.
Just thought about another thing with
Alan
your
Wake
EA pick.
Is what happened.
Yeah, with your EA pick, Mirror's Edge is again.
Oh yeah, right. That's
Gonna be a
Mirror's
thing.
Edge
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Archer, what do you want to see and what don't you want to see, buddy?
Okay. Well, because I'm all up on the MK train, I think it'd be really sick if they showed off Predator stuff because he's supposed to come out in a few weeks.
Is Warner Brothers confirmed to be at E3? currently?
I don't know. Actually, I totally didn't even look into it.
They might be part of the Sony and Microsoft show.
You
But,
know, it's not
I
like
mean-
you have any big franchises.
Yeah,
so-
well, I mean, they will be there. Actually, come to think of it, probably for Arkham Knight. I would be surprised
Yeah.
if they weren't. But
But they'll probably be at both shows, right? Sony, Microsoft.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like it doesn't even need to be a main stage thing. Even if there was like footage they released from just a booth on the side of some Predator gameplay, that'd be awesome because I'm super psyched for him to be part of the cast. Other than that, I think it would be pretty awesome if Square announced more information on the next Hitman game. Because they did announce like a year ago that they were doing it.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, and I mean, they released a few concept art images to
Yeah.
like kind of just
It was like a
tease it a
nightclub
little
or
bit.
something.
Yeah, and
Hitman, the movie, the game.
well, they put out
Hey,
a
that's what Ratchet and Clank's doing.
they put out a statement quite a while ago talking about how they were going to like really increase the scope of the game and how
so you
it's
want to see Hitman?
Yeah, I think that'd be sick. I don't know if that's going to entail any gameplay, but just some information on it would be really nice.
And, and what don't you want to see?
I really don't want to see,
Lego Dimensions.
especially in the bigger conferences, like particularly Sony, because that's where I'm going to be most interested in. But like, I really don't want to see them go on about like really like gimmicky kind of trivial bullshit. Like last year they went on about like a bunch of Vita stuff that nobody cared about. They went on about Heroes who like for like 15 minutes and like
Which has been confirmed to be there this year.
I mean, like, whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
It is something they're doing that they feel is noteworthy. But at the same time, like, I just don't feel that it's generating any hype. Like, it's kind of just, like, filling space in their time that they have, right? And, like, again, I mean, I know they will have to, but I'd really like them to not focus on, the, like, peripherals.
See, and I think we
like,
forget sometimes it is the entertainments, our electronic entertainment expo, right?
yeah,
So
but I mean, like last year they went on for like 20 minutes about PlayStation TV, and I mean, it's cool, but like honestly,
No, it's not.
really.
It's
a
really
big
not
deal.
cool.
Like I don't even know one person that has it, or that it's
I
even-
actually have it.
Oh, really?
yeah, it's shit.
Okay, I know one person that has.
You can
it.
play. You can play Persona 4 Golden on your 50 inches,
Wow.
basically.
Persona 5, because that will be there and likely part of
Oh
Sony's-
god.
Yeah. Speaking of that, also excited to see more Street Fighter stuff if they have it there. I think
so you
that'd
wanna
be
see
cool.
Street Fighter
I have
Hitman.
heard There will be
Yeah.
a playable demo.
Don't want to
That's
see
sick.
peripheral bullshit filling up your show.
Yeah, and
sure.
because especially since as far as we know, Street Fighter V is a Sony exclusive. I think that would be an awesome thing to show during their conference.
Let's go until dawn. Let's finally get that fucking game out.
No kidding,
no
eh?
doubt.
Because they just released a bunch of new info on Street Fighter and like how the systems are going to work and stuff. So I think it'd be cool to see that in action. See maybe some new characters.
And I think we will.
And,
I think we're going to see
you
that
know,
there.
I think
Sony would be stupid not to air something like that's an ace in the hole for them.
Yeah,
it's not the biggest title in the world, but it is only on their system.
I
And
swear to God, pun intended, if we see God of War 3 remastered there, I'm gonna be turning it off.
Yeah, that'll be definitely. I really hope they're not arrogant or not like. I hope they don't do what Microsoft did last year and be arrogant enough to think that we're gonna eat all the bullshit.
Here's the thing, though, they already have our money.
Yeah, I don't know. And see, this is gonna lead into what I want to see and what I don't want to see. I want to see more gameplay footage. I don't want to see doctored footage of a game that's not like it's a vertical slice. And I know people will tell you, oh, you should expect that. They're advertising that this. Well, we're gamers, man. You don't have to pitch me some bullshit. We are more than willing. This is one of the few industries where your customers are already ready to give you their money on just a promise of making a game that they like or a sequel to a game they like. Like you're so fortunate. You're so fortunate. This is one of those industries where we are already ready to pay you. Just don't fleece me. Don't dick me around. Just show me what you got. We're not going to judge you.
Another point to that is that I think adding to that, it's safer for them to show something that might not be complete or kind of rough around the edges and, put it out there than show something that's not reflective of the final title because those get fucked
Colonial Marines.
Well, they get ripped apart, and like people won't trust it after that or they'll just shit talk your games
look at
no end,
like
right?
again, The Witcher. It's a 9.5 out of 10. It's got some of the highest review scores. And man, CD Projekt Red caught a lot of heat on the internet for fudging their first showing of The Witcher. That's not the same game. It doesn't look the same. And I want to see more of your in-game footage. And what I do want to see more of, I want to see more of these people, our hosts in the show, treating the gamers like gamers. Like these things feel very much like they're pitching to large companies about their game. Like they're trying to sell themselves to somebody. We're gamers, man. You just gotta tell us this is coming out. This is the footage we got. It's not quite ready. Like just be more honest.
In a modern day and age too, you're not dealing with people who are so uninformed. They're out of the
we have a PC show at E3, and I think that shows you how much more sophisticated this is getting, and how much more sophisticated us as the users are getting. And just treat us with that modicum of humility, respect, and honesty. And I think that's gonna go. Like I want to see more of that because, in all honesty, if you told me Fallout 4 was coming next year, I would have been okay with that. Just don't tell me November 10th and then, oh, sorry, it's actually March 1st. Oh, sorry, coming in May. Don't just say it's not ready.
Holiday of next year.
Yeah, say it's not ready.
The October games of last year.
Yeah,
basically what Uncharted did.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, did they actually ever put out a release date for Uncharted 4?
I think they said something like winter or spring. Like they gave
said
like
it was
season.
Supposed to come in 2015,
they said it was
right?
2015, and then it got pushed back to 2016.
Which is still, it's not as bad, but still, I just want to see more. Just we're human beings. You guys, we expect you to be human. We know you're not rock stars. We know you're not CEOs. You're guys like us working in a company, man. Just speak to us like you are those guys who love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And those are the two things. You do those two things for me, you're gonna have a great show. And that's really what I'm looking for.
And that's something Bethesda did really well.
Yeah, I think they nailed it.
All the guys, like they had their
CEO swore.
Yeah, I mean,
love it.
They had their master of ceremonies out. He was a little more corporate.
Yeah,
but bit. The developers they had, you could tell that they were really passionate about the game, and
I'm on board with you. I thought Doom looked pretty cool. And I don't like shooters anymore, but I thought Doom looked fun.
Yeah,
absolutely. And with the slow, and it seems to be a theme at Bethesda with the VATS and with the Doom thing when you're switching weapons, it slows down time a bit, but you still have to react.
It was actually it looked pretty much identical to the weapon wheel from Dishonored.
Yeah,
that slows down and gives you that time. Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that they do. I think they do a combination of everything that we've said, and we see more of that. I think everybody wins if everyone can do that. Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, PC, Ubi, EAA. I think everyone just wins, and they make more money. You just make more money when you come at me like some sleazeball corporate guy trying to fleece me and tell me half truths, and you got one hand around my shoulder like we're buddies, and the other hand going for my wallet. I don't want to buy your shit. I
Call
don't.
me Randy.
Mr. Pitchford, no. Not again.
Yeah, Colonial Marines.
So we've determined that the game that Magnetic is most excited for is Barbie and her sister's puppy rescue. We've determined that Archer has had his heart set on Fat Princess Adventures, which will be there as well. So don't worry about that, buddy. And you know what?
And Dakota is excited for Grass and Rock Simulator 2015.
Those
Yeah.
are already out.
The most exciting game.
Let's be real. If they could actually launch No Man's Sky, I think we'd all be at least fairly happy with this year's E3.
So
They can salvage it.
yeah. So in general, guys, our podcasts are going to be a little bit longer in length.
Fucking deal with it.
That's because we have all this E3 stuff, and we hope you want to hear, what's going on and our thoughts and opinions on it.
And that's only day one, people.
As always, we will keep you in the loop. You can download us on through our Facebook page. You can go on YouTube. We're on Stitcher. We're on SoundCloud. We're on iTunes. And a shout out to my homegirl Jennifer, who I work with. Actually, made a very valid point. We don't have a day where we actually release our show on. I kind of just do it a couple times a month, and whenever it's ready, it's ready. So
That's her name, right?
yeah, that's her name.
Jesus.
And so she's like, why would you not release on a certain day so people know when they can get the show? So, we're going to do it on Wednesdays. We're going to put it out on Wednesday, and going forward, it's just going to be on Wednesday. So thanks, Jen, for pointing out the painfully obvious to my dumb ass. And
We tried to tell them.
yeah. So yeah, again, Facebook, it has the link for everything there. And thank you guys always, very much for tuning in and listening to us. And we'll be doing shows on E3 as it happens. So we're going to do this section for the Microsoft, and we're going to do this section for Day 3 as well with the Sony, Nintendo, and we're going to bring you all of our thoughts and opinions. So absolutely, any questions or things you want to comment about, or even things you liked about the show as well, email us m4mpcast@gmail.com. And anything else, guys?
No.
Thanks for listening.